Well, for every choral pilgrimage, I try and devise either a theme or a different country. Spain in the 16th century was one of the most affluent of countries in Europe. Therefore, the establishments were incredibly wealthy, so it was a great place to be making music. In the past, we've done concerts devoted to the music by Victoria, probably the most famous composer to come out of the Renaissance era in Spain. But actually, there are two other great composers, Guerrero and Lobo. And it was rather interesting that actually Guerrero was in fact Lobo's teacher, so it's sort of master and disciple. Guerrero was an amazing person in Spanish Renaissance history, not just for his music, but actually for his travels. This was a man that wanted to see the Holy Land. He managed to board a ship and had the most amazing experience in the Holy Land, going to all the places of the Old Testament and, of course, the Nativity. Sadly, on his return, he got kidnapped by pirates and was in fear of his life. He was basically had most of his belongings taken from him, but then they released him, they didn't harm him, and he returned to Seville. There's also one very special piece for me in the programme. It's Versa est in Luctum by Alonso Lobo. This actually was written for the funeral of Philip II of Spain, and it could well be one of the greatest pieces of Renaissance music, known by really a select few. And that is the purpose of the Choral Pilgrimage, to bring this fantastic music to a much, much wider audience.
It's a very interesting position for me to be in as a singing member of the group, but then periodically being the conductor as well. I think the best thing for me is that I get to see the music from both sides. You can see with Harry's conducting that he was a singer himself in the early stages of his career. And that's something that I've certainly tried to take on with my own conducting. I mean, I look at the music very much from the singer's point of view, and I like to think that I'm approaching it with the singers in mind, if you like.
The real pleasure which comes of performing a programme 40 times is seeing the audience's reaction, and it's just something really, really special. I always go and say hello, to some people that we know or that you just know their faces, because it really means a lot. It means a lot to me, for sure.
Our education and outreach department is expanding all the time. My role is primarily in running the Choral Pilgrimage workshops, and local singers from the community and nearby choirs will come and work on music from the Choral Pilgrimage. We spend a lot of the time laughing and having a go with their good fun, these sessions. We try to make them as light-hearted as possible, and it's a kind of dual element between working on people singing, teaching them a bit about the music, the historical context of it, why the composers were writing, what they were writing, working to develop over the course of the 4 hours a real sense of ensemble within the singers who are there.
This may be sacred music, but it's not music that is confined to people who are religious. You can be of any faith, from any walk of life, from any nationality, and there will be something within this music that actually hits a part of your emotion.
With the venues that you're in, they're so inspiring. It's impossible to be singing in somewhere like Durham Cathedral or York Minster or Tewkesbury Abbey and not be absolutely swept up in the atmosphere and the sort of emotion of the place. It speaks very strongly to me, and you can see that in the audiences as well.
It's wonderful when somebody in the audience comes up and says they've never been to a concert like this before. They've never been to hear a choir sing, and they thought, wow, this is incredible. When they see a group singing in 4 parts, 6 parts, 8 parts, 12 parts, they are sort of rather awestruck by it. But to us, we're just actors. We're just actors reading music rather than reading a play.